Good day. We are welcome back to class. We want to continue on from where we stopped the last time. Now, today we will be considering bar charts. A bar chart is a simple way of representing statistical data in picture form. In a bar chart, we use rectangular blocks or columns to represent the data. Now, if you look at this picture, you are having a bar chart here. You can see these are rectangular blocks used to represent the information. Now, on the vertical axis here, that is where you have the frequency, and on the horizontal axis, whatever you are representing will be on the horizontal axis. Then on a bar chart, you ensure that there will be spaces in between the bars. You can see the spaces you have even spaces in between the rectangular bars. Now, let's now look at an example. Now, you have to consider the scores of 30 students in a mathematics mental test. If you consider the scores of 30 students in a mathematics mental drill test, so if these are the scores, so these are the scores we want to represent, then A part of the question says prepare a tally and a frequency table for the data. Prepare a tally and a frequency table for the data. Then B, represent the data on a bar chart. Represent the data on a bar chart. So for us to be able before we can represent this type of information on a bar chart, we must first of all have our frequency distribution table. In the first class, I've explained how to get the frequency distribution table. I will not go back to that. If you are still having any problem with it, you can download the first lesson on statistics, so you'll be able to see how we represent this particular information on the frequency distribution table. When you do that, you understand how this is. Then we will now represent this on a bar chart. Now, on the table, you realize that 3 students scored 0, 4 students scored 1, 5 students scored 2, 8 students scored 3, 5 students scored 4, and 5 students scored 5. Now, to represent this on a bar chart, so it's better to use your graph. If you use your graph, you'll be able to get it properly. On the vertical axis, we are having the frequency of the students. We have the frequency of the students on the vertical axis. Then on the horizontal axis, then you are talking about what you are representing. Now maybe you are representing the scores of the students. Looking at the scores of the students, so some score 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, you should also put in mind, when you are drawing your bar chart are usually rectangular graphs. It's a graph that have spaces in between them. So for the first one, we said that for those that score 0, we have 3 of them scoring 0. So you now look at it. Now, if you draw your bar, then you realize that this is the frequency 3. So you draw the rectangle such that it's going to cover it up to this highest 3. Then you have it like this. So this one represents those that scored 0. Then for those that scored 1, we are having 4 students scoring 1. So that means we are having 4 students scoring 1, right? So that means you are going to draw a rectangular bar. So you leave an equal space, then we draw another rectangle, then that will give us 4 students. Then for those that scored 2, We have many students score 2? We have 5. 5 students are scoring 2. So you are now going to draw your rectangular bar that will be up to 5. The frequency here is 5. Check it. So draw it up to this. Then this one represents those that scored 2. Then those that scored 3, we are having what? 8. So 8 students scored 3. Then you draw your rectangular bar till you get to it. You can see this is 8. So down like that. So you must always represent whatever they are. So this one score 3. For those that scored 4, how many students score 4? We are having 5 students scoring 4. So you draw your rectangular bar such that it's going to cover this up to till we having 5 students scoring 4. Then we also have 5 students scoring 5. So again, you draw a rectangular bar to cover those that scored 5. You can see now. So with this, you can visualize, you can understand, you'll be able to get the information of what we are talking about. So if you, even without the table, you can know 3 students scored 1, 3 students scored 0. Then we are having 4 students scored 1. Then we are having 5 students scoring 2. Then we are having 8 students scoring 3. Then we are having 5 students scoring 4. Then for the last one, the 5 students scoring 5. So make sure you write down all this information, pen it down, then you can now go. Let's do another example. Before I give you a something to practice, I want us to do another example. Now, in this example, the number of students in a school who play football, hockey, basketball, and table tennis are shown below. So this is a table containing those that in the school, the number of students that are playing these different types of games. For those that play football, we are having 70 students. For those that play hockey, we are having 40 students. For those that played basketball, we have 25 students. And for those that play table tennis, we are having 35 students. Now, if you check from this table, you will realize that it's different from the first question. In the first question, you realize that we were given a raw data. Now, this data, the first thing you must do here is first of all present it in a table for us to be able to draw the bar chart. But in this type of question, we are only given the table straight. So this question has made it easier for us already. So it will be easier for us to represent this on a bar chart. Now, you know that whenever you are drawing your bar chart, so represent the information above on a bar chart. When you are drawing your bar chart, the horizontal, you use it to represent the different types of games. We have football, hockey, basketball, and table tennis. On the vertical, we are having the number of students here on the vertical axis. Now, how many students from our table, how many students played football? You realize we are having 70 students. If you look at your graph paper, you realize that for us to be able to meet up with, if we want to use the previous scale we used the other time, it will not be impossible for us to get 70 on the graph. Because of that, we will reduce the scale. Now, for the vertical axis here, we are going to use 2 centimeters to represent 10 units. So that every 2 centimeters, this 2 centimeters, that's 10, 200, 2 centimeters, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, like that. So you realize that between 2 centimeters, it means that 2 centimeters has 10 lines. So each of the line will now represent 1 unit. So for us to be able to measure football, we were told that those that played football are 70. You are going to draw your rectangular blocks. If you observe in this question, since I don't have much information to represent here, I decided to use 2 centimeter for each of the spaces of each of the games. So you can see that my graph still can still allow it, and I ensure that there is 1 centimeter spaces between the rectangular bars. Then I want to represent my 70. So this is vertical axis. So that means this is 70. So I'll draw a rectangular block from the horizontal here. So you will draw it up like that. So I've been able to get my 70 here. You can see. So this is 70 on the vertical axis. So I'm able to draw my rectangular block. So you must write whatever it represents them. This is for football. Now, we are having 40 students representing that number of students played hockey. So I'll come to this 40. You can see you draw your rectangular block till it get to 40. Then so this is it. So this one represents those that are playing hockey. So you must always represent whatever whatever they are representing on the graph, because without it your graph will be meaningless and you can be scored 0, because that means you have not done anything. Then for those that played basketball, if you look at it, if this is 20 and we said each of the line is what, 1 unit, the next line is 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Trace it down, you see it means it here. So you draw your rectangular block there. Then we are having the next one is 35. Those that played table tennis are 35 students. So if this is 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Now you can see, so draw your rectangular block. So you must write whatever the reps. This is for table tennis. So it means that we've been able to represent this information on a bar chart. So we are having 4 games here. The first one represents football, the second one represents hockey, then the next one basketball, and the next one table tennis. So we've been able to represent this a bar chart. A bar chart are rectangular blocks that they have spaces in between each of the blocks. So for your practice, I want you to practice this. So for your work practice, number 1, a fair die was tossed 30 times and the number of times each number occur is shown below. So we have been given the number of times it occurs. We are having 5, 4, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 2, 6, 4, 5, 3, 6, 4, 5. We have 6, 2, 1, 1, 4, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. So A part of the question says prepare a frequency table for the data. Then 2, B, represent the data on a bar chart. So that means you first of all present this first question on a bar chart, then you will now do it before you now represent it on a bar chart. Prepare a frequency distribution table for it before you now represent it on a bar chart. Secondly, in a survey carried out in a community, a group of inhabitants were asked how many brothers they have. The results are as follows. Now these are the number. So different individuals in the community will have the number of brothers they have. One said he has 5, another one 3, another one 3, 1, 4, 5, 0, 2, 2, 1. Then 7, 0, 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 0, 3, 6. Then 6, 2, 8, 1, 8, 2, 4, 0, 5, 1. A. Prepare a frequency distribution table for the data. B. Draw a bar chart to represent the information. C. How many people have at least 4 brothers? Then D, how many people have less than 5 brothers? So you have to answer the questions for your practice. And in case you want me to monitor your progress on this journey, you can send a message to my WhatsApp 08068309191 just with a token. So I remain your teacher, Mr. Ola Onipekun. Like, subscribe and comment on this video. Thanks.